Hello everyone, Jezza here. Another little video about Dune Prophecy. This is season 1, episode 2. So it's called Two Wolves. I just watched it. It's just come out. Have my ways, and I got a copy. I've just watched it, and I've made a few notes. I thought we'd talk about it. Some of the things I liked, some things I didn't like. So yeah, I've got my notes, and we'll just go through it a bit. So it starts with grand sweeping shots of a spaceship coming down to the planet of the Sisterhood. I forget the name of the planet. It's very difficult. This is like Game of Thrones all over again. I have to remember houses and locations and all this stuff. I'm gonna have to remember. And if you've seen my previous videos, I actually have a problem where I have difficulty recognizing faces. It's pretty hectic. But I've got the character guide up here. I can't share the screen for you guys, but I do have it here for me to look at. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So I can see all the characters and their names, and that's good. And I will tell you about some of the characters. So, yeah, it starts with these grand sweeping shots of the spaceship. I like the designs of the spaceships. I think it's cool that it's this really good mixture of sci-fi, but there's no laser swords and machines and stuff. It's like hi-fi, lo-fi. It's like doing two things at the same time. It's pretty cool. So an emissary comes to investigate the mysterious death of the Emperor's truthsayer. I forget her name as well. Let's have a look at the character guide. She was she's like this emissary. Kasha, that was it. Kasha, I've got it in my notes here. Yeah, they come to because she got burnt as well with Pruitt, the prince. How it happened at the same time hasn't been explained yet in this episode. Oh, should I mention that this will totally have spoilers? Yeah, this is like a recap video, so yeah. Uh, so we see Valia Harkonnen. I think she's pretty cool. I said this in my last video. I want to see more gravitas from her, and I'm just hoping we get to see that a bit more. But we see Valia's sister Tula, and she is given the role of looking after the Sisterhood while Valia goes to the Emperor's planet. Once again, I can't remember the name of the planet. Yeah, so Valia heads to the Emperor's planet to discuss these murders. We're kind of skipping through a bit, and I can show you a few things here. Because of YouTube and copyright, I can't play it, but I can do stills at least. Now there is a sex scene, and it goes for a long time, and I got a bit bored. It wasn't like I did write a note here. It kind of feels like Game of Thrones light at some points, and the sex scene, the sex position wasn't as engaging as it is in Game of Thrones. The sex scene goes for like 10 minutes. It's a long sex scene, and I'm just like I wasn't really interested in the Emperor's stepson and that chick that he's hooking up with. Now I skipped ahead a bit there, so yeah. Now the Duke. Oh, what is the Duke's name? I guess antagonist or a bit of trouble for the Emperor. So the Duke is pissed off about his son's death. Pruitt is the name of the prince. Yeah, so it is revealed then a bit later on that Desmond was swallowed by a sandworm, giving him powers, and we saw that at the end of the last episode, kind of like cliffhangery thing when the Emperor looks at that recording of Desmond being eaten or swallowed by the sandworm, and it gave him these pyrokinesis powers. At least that's the explanation we're getting so far. And he also seems to have the ability to deceive the truthsayers, which is like a mighty power, because the truthsayers, they can always work out the truth. So the Duke is pissed off. Um, so there's a point where Valia wants to investigate Desmond, Travis Fimmell's character, Desmond Hart, and uh, they go ahead and do that. Um, the Emperor's daughter, now what is her name? Princess Yinez. The Emperor's daughter still wants to join the Sisterhood. She does, after, even though her prince that she didn't really give a fuck about. Am I allowed to swear on YouTube? Yeah, I can swear. She didn't really care about. Um, she still wants to go to the Sisterhood. Yeah, so. Then it is revealed that Desmond admits he killed Kasha. How? We don't know. In fact, the Emperor Corino, he says to Valia later on, if you can work that out, please tell me. But for the meantime, you better keep all this secret. And, without any proof, I'm not doing anything. So Desmond does admit that he killed not only Pruitt, but Reverend Mother Kasha. Not Kesha, but Kasha. I made a note here that the suspension jail looks cool. This is like in the movies when the people come down from the ships or even go up to the ships. They sort of like float and fly. It's not jetpacks like the Mandalorian. It's just like hovering and levitation. It's pretty cool. So suspension jail looks pretty cool, and the visuals do look good. But this is halfway through my notes, and I should say that about halfway through the episode, I was getting a bit bored. It's not as engaging as I want it to be. That's just the truth of how I feel about it. There's enough intrigue for me to keep on watching, and I will keep on watching this. But there were moments of boredom and just like not really being engaged by what is being said. We'll get to that in a second. So, Kieran Atreides, the Swordmaster, or the Emperor's Swordmaster, reveals that he is part of the rebellion against all the great houses who are hoarding spice for their travels across the universe. And they do say universe in this. They don't say galaxy, they say universe. So the distances between these places must be extremely vast. And the spice allows, like we learned in the movies, the spice allows for intergalactic travel. So it's not just within the galaxy that they travel, within their galaxy. It's across the universe. That's hectic. At least that's what the show's telling me. So I can only work off what the show tells me. Here I make a note here that the dialogue with the young girls at the Sisterhood is lacking. I know that sounds a bit vague, but it's lacking in intrigue. Not the most engaging actors, and it's kind of like bratty, a bit boring. Just girls talking about the Sisterhood, and it doesn't really matter for me. But then they do introduce something cool, which is the Sisterhood has a power to unlock genetic memory. Kind of like in the Assassin's Creed games, and the theory in real life as well, that we stored ancestral memories in our genes. How to access that in reality, we haven't discovered yet. We can't work out. But there are people who claim, scientists and stuff, who claim that we do have this sort of genetic. We may have this genetic sort of memory thing going on, which I find interesting. Here's where I write, I have to say that I did get bored at some points, and then I wrote Game of Thrones light. That's just how I feel. That's the truth. I have to be truthful on my channel about how I feel about this. The next bit is Valia, the Mother Superior, the main chick, discovers that Kieran Atreides is the spy. And because of the blood feud between the Harkonnen house and the Atreides house, she's pleased to hear this. She can get rid of him, and because of that blood feud, and really take revenge. And that is explained in episode 1, where Valia explains that the Harkonnens were cast out because they were seen as cowards in the Great Jihad War with the AI. So she learns that about Kieran. Here's another note. Here's another bad point. Princess Inez is not acting well. The actor, she doesn't. I don't want to be too mean, but I also have to tell the truth. She's not acting very well. There's a bit where she gets angry and stabs a training dummy, and it just falls flat. If I were the director, I would have done another take. I would have said, give me more. We need to see more emotion. That's sort of my thought on it. In that same scene, Kieran Atreides tries to kiss Inez, but they both... she sort of rebuffs and says, look, it's bad for... we can't do this. And he goes, you're right, it's bad for both of us. We shouldn't. Even though there is an attraction there. Then I write that Travis Fimmel as Desmond Hart is the best part of the show. And I write along with Mark Strong. So I find it ironic that in this woman-centric show, the men are kind of standing out as really good. And I'll just make a quick aside that if you watch my channel, if you're new to my channel and stuff, I don't like woke culture, just like most normal people. Doesn't mean I'm like this evil thing. I just don't like it forced in my media. In my episode 1, I talked about how I find it not offensive that this is female-centric because it's focusing on the sisterhood. But there is, I will admit that this show got greenlit in all intents and purposes because it's female-centric. And that would go great with today's crowd and modern sensibilities. So I have to concede that point. That being said, I'm not personally offended. And I'll echo my first video, I like strong, badass women. I don't like it when it's forced, but I like it when it's genuine. So we're getting a bit of a mix of, there is some badass stuff going on, but it's also clear why this got greenlit, and it's like an easy move to make for the production company. Women-centric, yeah, girl power, feminism. I don't like evil, feminazi, man-hating stuff. Many of friends have cancelled me over that. But I have to say, that's like my morals and my code. I have to stand by that stuff. I don't like misandry. I do actually believe in equality, but some of my ex-friends didn't believe that I do, but that's a whole nother video in itself. I think you can see that I don't have hate in my heart for women. Of course not. I just don't like it when it's forced female empowerment. I think I made myself clear. Good. So Travis Fimmel, best part of the show. He's acting. I loved him as Ragnar in Vikings, and now he's in this, and he's just his facial expressions, his intensity. He's real good. Then they come to the poison ritual, and I found the visuals of the poison ritual really good. I do like these visuals. I got a bit confused with the names here, but the sisterhood, the girl in the sisterhood in training, Lila, sees, is it Raquella? Just looking at the character guide, she's not up there, so I can't tell. The first Reverend Mother Superior. At least that's what she thinks, and then it's a bit confusing, but it's actually then steps forth her Lila's own mother, who got murdered in episode 1 by Valia with the voice. And I also thought this was a wasted opportunity that Lila learns this information and then dies. Wouldn't it have been better if she were to live, and then there would be a ton of discord within the sisterhood that Valia killed her mum, and that then Lila could get people on her side, and there'd be like a civil war within the sisterhood. Wouldn't that have been a smart idea? Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think about my little idea there. Yeah, so then there is the end of the episode where the Duke, which once again I don't know the name, the antagonist Duke with the fleet of ships, making the deal with the Emperor. He's in with the Emperor and he starts bad mouthing him, and Desmond walks in and Emperor Carino gives the command to burn him with his pyrokinesis, and he does, but stops at the last second and lets him live as a sort of, because he's pleading for mercy, and he sort of lets him live and says, go bury your son, go back home with all your armaments, and stay there, and don't meddle in our affairs again. And I think he's going to take that opportunity. But that could set up some really cool fighting for the rest of the season. Maybe he'll come back with a vengeance, with a bigger fleet, something like that. So it could be cool. Then at the end, the very end scene, Valia tries to kill Desmond with the voice, and says the same thing she said in episode 1 to that other sister, which was, take out your blade, put it to your throat, drive it through your throat. And it's kind of predictable. I could tell that he can have the power to not be affected by the voice. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble talking. So he resists the voice, and that's a mighty power in itself. And then Valia walks off, unaccomplished. She wasn't able to take out Desmond, and then it ends on that note, sort of not a cliffhanger, but just like a sort of badass, tense scene. So I know that episode 1 ended on that cliffhanger with the killing of a young boy. I was watching. I watched some YouTubers like Nerdrotic and Film Threat, the guys at Film Threat, Alan and Chris, and they didn't like it. I think Alan didn't mind it, but none of the YouTubers I watch like this show. I am intrigued enough to want to keep on watching the show, and I'm somewhat invested. I'm a bit dubious, but I want to keep on going ahead and making videos and watching it, and I think I've been pretty balanced in how I'm telling you. I'm telling you the truth of how I feel. I'm not faking it just to appease the YouTubers that I like, or with the narrative of it's bad. I kind of like it, but I do have my criticisms. So yeah, that's sort of the end of the episode. Some more thoughts would be that I said it before, but I do like the visuals. There's some really cool visuals of spaceships, of the planets. Spaceships arriving to the planets. That's really cool. In juxtaposition, the dialogue between the younger girls in the sisterhood is not very good. Some real dialogue problems, some script problems, which it's not engaging enough. How to fix that, I don't know. Need a better writer. I can't write. This is tough stuff. I don't know if I could fix it if they asked me to write it. I don't know if I could. It's very difficult to write something compelling. I know because I'm trying to write a story myself. I have World Anvil, and I'm trying to make this grand, epic story, and everything's going good on with making my story. But where I have trouble is dialogue between two characters because they just sound like me, and I need to step into the shoes of of my characters, and really get them to talk to each other. So, uh, yeah, I think my overall point of that is the dialogue is lacking. Yeah, so that is sort of like a little recap of what happened in the episode, and some of my little thoughts, some of my little criticisms. I will be watching the rest of this. I'm kind of excited to keep this up and watch every Monday. Watch it. Have a bit of fun with the intrigue. See Travis Fimmel doing a great job. I wish he was in it a bit more. I think he's going to be a big player in this. Yeah, so I guess I labeled my first video, I immediately love this. And I did. I really did. Now in episode 2, I'm still into it, but I'm a bit mixed. And that is my, kind of sounds a bit vague and all that, but that's how I feel. So 21-minute video. Okay, well that's sort of everything I wanted to say. What did you think? Are you enjoying this? Because I'm hearing a lot of people aren't enjoying it. I still have appreciation for it. I want to keep on watching it. So let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. One little thing, show and tell. This has got nothing to do with anything, but have a look at this Avatar amp suit. Isn't that cool? And Colonel Quaritch is inside. I like Avatar. I was just watching Avatar in 4K. That's a little show and tell thing I wanted to do at the end of the video. And yeah. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you out in the stars.